Yeah, I'm about to piss off a lot of Nintendo fans with this one.
I'm in danger!
Illumination truly is the Cocomelon of modern animation. Wait! Before I get spammed hate comments, let me preface my review by saying I did enjoy the movie. I had a solid time watching it with my girlfriend, and I enjoyed the ride. We both had smiles on our faces and enjoyed hearing recognizable themes from the games and seeing some of our favorite Nintendo characters on screen. But I have to call a spade a spade. If this movie wasn't about Mario and recognizable Nintendo properties and characters, would I give a single crap about it? Absolutely not. There's just not much going on here outside of the references and member berries, and it's hard for me to even talk about the intricacies of the film because there really aren't any. This movie is a pretty desktop screensaver with paper-thin story and characters.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
And while I enjoyed this installment more than the first film, it's more so because I had already lowered my expectations more than it being a great film in itself. In fact, it's hard to classify it as a traditional film. It's more of a TikTok compilation. It barely has a 3-act structure, and it has minimal characterization, and it doesn't help that the pacing feels like an Instagram reel on triple speed. Now, I'm happy people are enjoying it and the fans were respected and given a bunch of fan service, but I'd argue that the fans deserve better. A lot better. Family films marketed at kids used to be great, and while this project is one of those turn your brain off fun type movies, I feel like it was designed more to be watched on an iPad in the back of a car on a long road trip than for anything substantial. There's no time to breathe or develop ideas more deeply, and at this point, it's an Illumination signature. But even if I feel like this is borderline slop, Illumination is still laughing to the bank regardless.
You big dildo. Eat your fucking slop.
This studio has it down to a science when it comes to visual stimulation. Despite some quieter moments in the early Despicable Me movies, the vast majority of their catalog can best be described as a cacophony of snappy animation, low-hanging jokes, and cuddly creatures that love to fart and are super marketable. And I'm not trying to be a hater, I like the first 2 Despicable Me movies. Secret Life of Pets is fine, and I think both Mario films are passable, but I just think their formula aligns with Brainrot more so than a cinematic piece of art. Illumination's movies are ankle deep in terms of characterization, story development, and overall writing, and at this point it's just impossible to ignore this many movies in. Real quick, if you're enjoying the video, please consider subscribing and helping me reach 5k subs. Now back to the video. And while Illumination is making money hand over fist, there's not a single one of their movies I would pick over Disney's legendary run in the 90s or Pixar's first 15 years of films. When comparing the older eras to the current one, it's not even a competition in terms of quality. And sure, I'm cherry picking examples that are some of the best animated films of all time, but my point is when I was growing up, children's movies were made with substance, character, and care. Giving a project a pass because, oh, it's just a kids movie just simply shouldn't even be a thing. I mean, it's literally shameful if you ask me.
How dare you?
But listen, I'm not trying to be some high and mighty prick. I definitely get how a film can win someone over by appealing to the fanboy side of them because, for example, I'm a huge Godzilla fan. And while the MonsterVerse films aren't necessarily great from a writing and characterization perspective, they fulfill my childhood dreams of getting the big G on screen with expensive Hollywood special effects. I'm able to look past their faults and enjoy the kaiju carnage. But if you're not a huge fan of Godzilla or kaiju movies, you're probably not going to care very much, and those flaws are going to be glaring and in your face. Even though I enjoy them, I objectively know that they are incredibly flawed. But at least the MonsterVerse has character development, even if it's not great. At least the stories follow a straightforward sequence of events. The Mario Galaxy movies plot, if you can call it that, is a bunch of events strung together by plot conveniences in order to facilitate the next action scene. If I was a bigger Nintendo fan, I'd probably be able to look past a lot of this, but still, whether you love the movie or not, you have to recognize that these faults are there, and you can't be mad if other people are going to point them out.
You can't handle the truth!
I just left the movie wanting wanting something deeper.
What do you mean by that?
And there's virtually no character development outside of Peach and Bowser. Peach's journey is ultra superficial and is given no time to be explored. She's sad about not knowing where her family is at the beginning. Then she finds out Rosalina is her sister at the end, and she's no longer longing for her family. And it's literally that shallow. That's it. There's nothing in the middle of the film to remind you of this. You're just shown it at the beginning, and then at the end it's like, oh look, I do have family. And that's as far as we go with it. Illumination wasn't interested in exploring this anymore.
Yeah, you suck. Yeah, you just fucking suck.
Bowser had a far more interesting arc in my opinion that had a ton of potential, but then it was just completely abandoned. It warmed my heart to see Bowser Jr. so happy to see his dad again, and that he was trying to take over the universe all to make Bowser proud. And the puppet show flashback was absolutely adorable. I mean, that got to me. But then Bowser starts to question his morality and the example that he set for his son, but then Bowser Jr. gets Bowser in front of a cheering crowd of Koopa lackeys, and he just says, fuck it, we ball, I'm evil again.
Whoa! This is worthless.
Everything that hinted at an evolution of his character is regressed and absolutely yielded nothing. Was I as hyped as hell to see Yoshi since he's my favorite Mario character? Absolutely. But it would have been really cool for him to have a reason to show up rather than appearing like, oh look, it's Yoshi. How'd he get here? I don't know. On to the next thing.
Wow, this is garbage.
Something as basic as he was looking for food while out with the other Yoshis and got lost in a warp pipe would suffice. Something.
I hope you're hungry. For nothing.
Now, I'm not suggesting you needed to slow everything down to a crawl in order to explain all of the world building and give every single character a super in-depth story arc, but keeping everything surface level and getting literally no context for pretty much anything whatsoever is insane, especially when it comes to all the characters. For example, why didn't Rosalina ever try to reconnect with Peach? Like, at all. She could have just flown the spaceship there, right? I guess not. We get more characterization for Fox than we did for Toad, Yoshi, or Luigi, and he's supposed to be a cameo character, and I feel like we know more about him and his motivations than the main cast. What's up with that? This movie didn't need to have some award-winning plot with twists and turns that featured multifaceted protagonists, but what we got was bare minimum, if that, and I'm being kind of generous.
Pathetic.
I know this review is really negative, but I'm just being real. I did laugh multiple times and found myself humming the tunes from the games, however, and I was locked in during a lot of the action scenes, but the Illumination formula is very limiting. It confines movies that could be truly great into average at best. And I think Nintendo fans, animation fans, and movie fans in general deserve something far better. I'm just trying to hold Illumination accountable. Their success sets a precedent that mid-slop is acceptable rather than pushing the boundaries of animated storytelling. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and The Wild Robot are some of the best animated films I've ever seen, and they both came out fairly recently and performed well. So there's definitely a market for richer animation in every sense of the word. But I fear that other studios will see the Super Mario Galaxy movie's success along with Illumination's greater success and aim to simulate social media brain rot on the big screen. Regardless of everything I've said so far, what does make me happy was how many kids with their families I saw on opening night. This film is appealing to people from multiple generations, and that's awesome. But people who grew up with the NES and those who are currently growing up with the Switch alike deserve an awesome Nintendo animated movie that respects their intelligence and offers them a lot more than pretty colors and member berries. And like I said before, using the excuse, well, it's made for kids when explaining why something is dumbed down carries no weight. Star Wars was made for kids. The Muppets was made for kids. Dragon Ball, Transformers, Marvel and DC Comics, and yet those stories have carried on for decades because they didn't patronize their young audience. They challenged them, made them question the world around them, and most importantly, inspired them. I just want better for the kids of today and my kids in the future. What differentiates a piece of media that endures time versus one that doesn't? Even if a movie is fun, the audience can tell when they're being patronized, and that goes for kids too. I'm probably sounding like a broken record, so I'll end off with this Jim Henson quote. "The most sophisticated people I know Inside, they are all children. But that's enough of me rambling. Let me know in the comments how you all enjoyed the movie. Do I have valid points, or am I being a little too harsh? What do you think the next Nintendo animated film is gonna be? And how long do you guess until we get a Smash Bros film? Thanks so much for watching this long. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. My goal is to hit 5,000 subs, so any help is greatly appreciated. Take care, and I'll see y'all in the next one.